Well, that was a really awkward moment for me. I had to go through that whole nonsense with YouTube. Anyways, folks, yes, this will be a movie review. And yes, you see that tagline? Soul crushing. Yes, I will be reviewing Detroit 2017 film. Actually, it's based on historical events. But anyways, yes, this is actually directed and written. Well, sorry, directed and produced by Christian. Oh my lord, Catherine. Well, I'm gonna mess up her name right now. Catherine Bigelow. And I hope I said that correctly. She is the same lady who directed Hurt Locker, which is one of my all-time favorite war films. And she has a big repertoire. She has a big resume. How about that? Okay, help me out, phone. Don't be a weirdo. Yes, I'm looking at my phone so I can look at all the actors and actresses' names because I will screw that up easily than anyone else. Catherine Bigelow. She has amazing work of The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, which I like as well. Near Dark, Strange Days, and Point Break. But I will be focusing on and her ex-husband is James Cameron. Who knew? Anyways, yes, he wasn't part of this anyway. So Detroit, yes. Who is starring is John Boyega, Will Poulter. I will get to him later. Al Smith, whatever. Anyways, Jason Mitchell. You will know Jason Mitchell from Straight Outta Compton. I hope I said his name right. I did it correctly. Anyways, John Cusack and Anthony Mackie. Yes, there's a lot of people. And music by James Newton Howard. And cinematography, which is very awkward. Oh my lord, these names get crazier every time. Anyways, I'm moving to train of thought now. Yes, I'm going to do one take on this. Anyways, yes, Detroit. Now, this will be an interesting moment for the movie is set in the late 1960s. And so on July 23rd, again, I might say some things here and there, I might spoil the story, but it's going to be spoiler free because you have to watch this movie. But again, let me kick things off by giving you the premises of it. So in 1967, on July 23rd, a Detroit police staged a raid on an unlicensed club during a celebration for veterans, black veterans, by the way, who were returning from the war. This also formed the mob because in Detroit and also in that era, police brutality towards people of color was very rampant, and there was no justice being in sight for these people who were being mistreated by the police, who were abusing their power. And what made this film even more, I would say, lively and pretty much realistic was that it was all staged. The stage raid on an unlicensed club, which was so annoying. But the worst part was a black cop pretty much staging the raid on unlicensed clubs. Again, all these unlicensed clubs unhappily turned out to be black. Again, this is in Detroit, by the way. And so it was very sickening too. Like, man, he's a house Negro, which he kind of was, because he was doing all the crooked tactics as the cops, like in those days and eras, was doing towards people of color. And so when they arrest people by the boatload on things they didn't really do, or pretty much be an unlicensed club because they had alcohol and everything else, without a license, whatever, it was like it was so minuscule. Like, why are you harassing them? Pretty much go after the real people who are doing real damage. But they didn't care. It's like, hey, we got to meet a quota, which, yes, we see my camera moving because I'm moving the bed. But anyways, and so they got to meet a quota. And they don't really say it in the movie, but you kind of get that sense. They say, oh, we got to make our quota. So Sarah. And so what led further to being a lot of black people being arrested was a lot of people in the community, also black, were pretty much out by the dozens, and pretty much it was a mass mob because the police were treating them so unfairly. And then one of the crowds threw was throwing rocks at the police, which ignited even more. And so that gasoline, pretty much on an open flame, it was a wildfire, which things had led to much awful things. It was a ticking time bomb. It was like, it was so much police brutality against people of color. You just needed one instance, and everything's just going to be war zone. And the movie, the first act was pretty much, you felt like you was in a war zone. It was like, oh my God, you see the military, you see the National Guard, you see police officers strapped to the teeth, and pretty much thinking it's a third world country. We see buildings being looted, destroyed, burnt to the ground because rioters say, oh, we're going to riot and actually do something about it. I mean, and, and vice versa. Like, we're going to do something about it by rioting in our own community, destroying our own community, and see when we get some things done. Oh, dear God, they were so stupidly wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. And the riots did not help anybody, because the riots were pretty much destroying a lot of businesses that were black owned, and there was some Caucasian owned and some other nationalities, but it was all black owned, because this was, again, in Detroit neighborhoods that were all urban and pretty much people of color. And so going on from there, it was just so everyone's on the edge, and when you think, oh, sniper fire from the windows, when it's just a child peeking through the windows, like, what's going on out there? Because you see tanks, you see armored Humvees, you see, like, man, what in the world? And there's this one scene, and they don't shy away from the killings of people, innocent people, and it was like, wow. Again, I can't spoil that moment in that first act, but you have to really see it. And so we meet the first characters, or first real characters, who are portrayed by amazing actors. But you get what I'm getting here. But I'm fucking up, because it's gonna be really touchy for me, because it just feels so realistic. Anyways, so Will Poulter's character, who he plays as Phil Cruz. I hope it says his name. I don't give a fuck about his name. Yes, he is a real person, by the way. Phil Cruz, a police officer, a shady one at that. And he's not a good cop whatsoever. You pretty much tell, because when you see looters, he shoots on sight, because they were disobeying the law. You shot him in the back. Well, he was running. You shot him in the back. Yeah, I'm just gonna go down, because he was being watched by his own commissioner too, and we can tell from in the beginning act and the last act, because you can tell the chief does not like him whatsoever, because he's making the police force look bad, or pretty much he's giving them a bad repertoire. Because I don't have to stress this too, not all cops are crooked or this and that. The bad apples have a bad effect on the communities, like black communities and Latino communities and so on and so forth. And you don't have a lot of good cops standing up against that type of corruption. I mean, you do at times, us to get caught, but at the end of the day, there's not a lot of justice for people who are killed by police most times. So I know I'm going to get off my soapbox now, a real soapbox. And so Phil Cruz is tagged along with another police officer. I'm going to say, I can't remember the officer's name, so I got to look up my phone. I think, no, it was, in all honesty, it doesn't really fucking matter. It's because they were all racist cops and just some easy manipulative people. They were so easily manipulated, they had no backbone. They had no common sense. And so, again, you see a lot of things is going to happen. It's just so many characters are coming to that one spot in Algier Motel. I know I'm saying that motel's name wrong, but that motel, by the way, is just a side note. It's closed down because due to that whole incident, it's like it can't do it anymore because people died there. But anywho, let me see, because I gotta look at my phone for to keep myself on track. Anywho, so on the 12th Street, fire start began on the 12th Street riot, and with the civil authorities, elected representatives, and even emergency services were unable to maintain any stability of order due to the riot, because the fire department was being attacked by rioters as well. They're trying to do their jobs, EMTs, so on and so forth. He's like, everyone was pretty much being unruly. So back to the Phil Cruz character, he morally wounds a suspect. Again, he shot him in the back, so he's pretty much partnered along with another cop. Again, he's still on active duty, but he's still being investigated if they should press charges. So we go to another within the first act. We meet this group called the Dramatics, a real R&B group who are trying to get up out of Detroit and pretty much make something of themselves. Again, I love this part as well because it was like you have Motown Records, you was right there, like the music, everything else, and there was people trying to do their own daily business, but it's hard when you try to do their own business. We have rioters, crooked cops, so much more. It's like, what can you do? And so, don't get attached to nobody. Trust me, do not get attached because you will get so crushingly defeated at the end of the movie. It's like, damn, man, I can't make it anymore. I can't do it. I can't do it. So going on from there, again, I had to skim over things because I don't want to spoil the story. And so when they had to leave the theater because the rioters were happening outside when they were about to perform. Sad to say, they didn't get to perform because, again, the riots that were happening in the streets of Detroit. And so they pretty much, and when they got on the bus to pretty much get to a motel and just settle down and relax, they were attacked by the rioters again. So the group of them split up. So one got into a different direction that we didn't know where they went to, nor do we care, because it's not about them, it's about these other characters who is, again, let me go back to my phone. Yes, I'm looking down here. See me later. We meet the characters. Oh my lord, I cannot find what I need to find. Where is it? I don't know. While we look for this, let's just interrupt this for this broadcasting. Yes. So we get Larry, Fred, Carl, who are part of the Dramatics, who are both Larry played by Al Smith. Algie Smith, sorry, I keep messing his name up. Algie Smith, who plays Larry. We get Jacob Littman, who is played by Fred. He plays Fred, and Eazy-E Jason Mitchell, who plays Carl. Again, all real people. I have to state that multiple times. Real people, because we follow these really good actors and characters to the motel. And again, I'm looking down due to it. And also Lee, who is Peyton Alex. Again, great actors. And we have Aubrey, who is played by Nathan Davison. Again, a lot of good actors. Love them all. And you see the brothership behind these groups, behind the parts of the Dramatics and their manager. And I love these characters. I love the actors how to portray these pretty much they're just kids, just trying to make a living and just get up out the hood or pretty much make something good for themselves. And so they go to a hotel pretty much frustrated they didn't get to perform in the theaters, and they're pretty much mad at the police for not doing anything to stop it. Again, it's just pretty much kids pumped up of aggression and just being stupid. And so another character is two white females who is played by Karen is played by Kathleen Denver. And where is she at? Yes. And from Game of Thrones, Hannah Murray, who plays Julie. And Julie, in this whole predicament, she becomes friends with the parts of the Dramatics. And again, I like how it all played out. Like, they didn't really feel out there in there. And pretty much they weren't from, some of them wasn't from Detroit. They were from a different state. But again, that's not here or there. I'm not trying to spoil the whole story. So again, a lot you just love the dialogue between these characters. You love how it's just camaraderie. They're just trying to relax. You're just trying to have fun, right? So it's nothing to get shoved down your throat. But sadly, again, don't get attached to none of these characters because you will start to like them even more because you start to understand why they felt like this and this and this. And then this is where Kathleen Bigelow has a really, really strong directing foresight how to make character development, because we see great character development, we see great character arcs. Again, these are real people, in a real situation, and how did they go through this? And at the end of this review, I do have to go over one or two things really quickly, but I'll do that later after this review. And so, again, one of the kids does something very, very stupid. It's like, really, 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 really. You just asked him to be killed. It's like, really. Again, this is where we're going to the second act. And the second act is... The second act... How can I say this? And again, I'm going to borrow some talking points from Double Toasted. Another shameless plug. Check them out. But, again, the first act was like a war film. This second act felt like a horror movie. I mean, a real-life horror movie, because you see these kids be tortured and sadly be killed by these corrupt officers. And they play this stupid game. Again, no police officer does this. The death game, which again, you should not do that, because it gives people a false sense of dread and everything else. And when the game goes sour very fast, it's like, oh shit, and you're just so you're so scared of what's going to happen to these characters, because again, don't get attached, but you are attached, and these are real people, and these are pretty much real events that took place. Some of it could have been dramatic, pretty much could have been more dramatic to it, but it doesn't take away the movie at all, because it's just like, oh shit. And if you go through the court documents as well, you can tell that there's a lot of things they did not put in this movie, and you should really do some more research on this as well, because no one did know about it. I didn't know about this at all, about the riots and also this incident at the motel. It's like, I didn't know nothing about this. What the fuck? And so when I did some research before I watched this movie, it's like, oh shit, this happened. Hey, I know about police brutality, but this is not police brutality. This is just straight up evil shit. It's like, dog, no. And I almost got teary-eyed a little bit, because this was happening to real people, and there's being tortured, and people like, oh, this is just like torture porn, this and that. Well, like in saying Hostel or Saw, well, those films are fake. They're not real. This is real, okay? You're like, oh, they're just making it more dramatic. And it didn't make it less dramatic. It makes it pretty much how it is. They don't shy away on how evil these police officers was. But the worst of them all was I look at my phone. Was Phil Cruz, who was played by Will Poulter. And Will Poulter does an amazing job, too well. And if he gets a Best Actor award, and they shouldn't give it to him, because like, no, that motherfucker shouldn't get it. He played it too damn well. Like, no, fuck that shit, no. But again, because you always picture him as a dorky, nerdy asshole kid that you see in Maze Runner or Weird Millers. But in this movie, he does have acting chops, and really good acting chops, and he just plays a really evil villain who is a real person. And Cruz, that is. And you can't even say he's a coward, which he is. He's a coward. He's a straight asshole coward who doesn't think with logic or with reason. He's just an evil person. And Will Poulter does it damn too well. It's like he does his job too well. And so I applaud that actor, but also I kind of hate that actor too. Like Michael Fassbender in like 12 Years a Slave moment. It's like, I don't want to hate him, but he's not nice. But anyways, William Poulter does an amazing job of portraying how evil this cop was. He was very defiant to the very, very end. And so again, we're still in the second act. And you're going to ask me, what about John Boyega's character? He plays Damascus. His name, Damascus. Yeah, let's go with that. Fuck it. Anyways. And he's a cop. Well, he's not really a cop. He's a security guard. And again, these are real people. Security guard to a store, and he was pretty much brought on board when like the National Guard needs more guys and this and that. But again, John Boyega's he has that Denzel moment. I'm sorry. He reminds me of Denzel. Who is like, this is like a mini Denzel. What the fuck? This is the youngest version of Denzel. This is Denzel. If you did a biography of Denzel, you need John Boyega for it. Yes, I'm a John Boyega fan a little bit because I saw Attack the Block and Star Wars, which he kills it. And again, I love this actor. He's really good. I love all the actors in this movie. Well, except for the other guy, but that's a different story. But I was trying to not remember. So John Boyega's character, again, Damascus, he is stuck between abiding by the law, but also keeping his people and himself safe from the corruption of the police force. And so he's trying to do what is right. And you can be more sympathetic toward him, to him. And you can say, he's not being tortured, he's not doing this. Well, as being a black guy who is part of the force in a strange way, well, he's not really part of the force, but you get what I mean. And he's just trying to keep people safe. What can he do? What can he say? Not a damn thing. And you know that's true. And you know it's like he can't do anything. He just pretty much has to abide by their rules. Like, yes, sir, yes, sir. But you can tell from his facial expression, you can tell from his eye, you can tell from his hand gestures that he's very stressed. He's very stressed. He's just this and that. And John Boyega just plays so damn well. It's like you feel sympathetic for Damascus. Excuse me. And when you go from there, it's like you kind of want to latch onto him because like he is like your raft of solitude, but you don't get too attached to him at all either. Because no, in fact, what would you do in his shoes? The same damn thing. And what can you do? He's trying to pretty much keep these kids safe, but all good deeds don't pretty much become noticed. And that's sad. I mean, that's one of the saddest parts of it all. Like, he gets roped into this bullshit by these crooked cops. And the National Guard was there too. So they didn't help shit at all. And the National Guard, again, they saw how the abuse towards the people who didn't do nothing wrong. They do leave, but they don't tell or pretty much do anything about it. And you see this a lot. You will see this a lot more in the movie where a lot of people see what's wrong, but they're going to look the other way because I'm not going to be singled out in this time and era. Again, this is in the late 60s, early 70s era. And so times were different, and we have done a lot. We have progressed even more nowadays, but police brutality and people holding police accountable, you know what I mean? And I'll explain a little bit long down the road, again, after this video. Well, after the review. So again, I can't say too much within the second act and the third act, but you're pretty much exhausted when you get to the third act. But the second act, again, it's a horror movie that you can't stop looking and you can't really turn away because these are, again, real people. And I love how they mixed in real image, like crime photos and sceneries from actual times and mixed in with the movie. It didn't feel out of place. It felt natural. Everything felt very natural. It didn't really feel forced. It didn't feel anything else. The pacing of this movie is damn good, really good. And so after the second act is over, you'd be like, oh, thank God it's over. It's like, no, we got more to go. Fuck. And again, Julie, she's trying to stand up, but the cops ain't going to do. It's like, no, fuck that shit. No, you won't have no rights up in here, bitch. Sorry about that for our female audience. We're still watching the video. Anyways, so when we get to the third act, we see the aftermath. And the aftermath of it all is more heartbreaking. And also, before I get to the third act, I would say Anthony Mackie's character. I look to my phone again. Where is it? Ah, yes. Green. Yes, Green. Anthony Mackie plays Green, a veteran, a real a black veteran who just got back from the war, an honorable discharge. And the police officers were all like, "Oh, he's lying." Like, no, he's telling the truth. It's like that makes it more a dilemma there too. I mean here, and we don't see much at first. We don't see much of this person in the third act, but it's understandable too. Like, what would you do? What would you say? And going on from there, the third act is the aftermath of the incident at the motel. And people getting rounded up, all the bad people. And sadly, Damascus is wrapped up in it. No, in fact, he didn't do nothing technically wrong, and he couldn't really pretty much help those kids out that situation because those police officers were fucking crazy. They were straight crazy. And the court trial and how it all went down, you got the prosecuting going after the people, and the police chief, which it was really good because the police chief did not like Phillips at all, and he called him out on his bullshit, like, you racist motherfucker, you get the fuck out of this car before I break your neck. It's like, oh shit, that's what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, break his neck because Phillips police boys sold him out, and he was still defiant to this very day. And so, moving on from there, the procedure, the court trial, and their lawyer, that sleazy bastard. Yes, he was doing his job, but that sleazy motherfucker, who was played by John Cusack, who plays the attorney. Cannot remember that loser's name. Not John Cusack. I'm talking about the lawyer. I go to wiki pages. So give me a second. I'm not trying to make this video too damn long. There it is. And where is he at? Where is he at? Where is he at? Where is he at? No. Where are you at? John Cusack, who plays Attorney Arback. Attorney Arback. And again, he had to change his name due to, again, you don't want death threats towards this guy or anything else. Like, so some of the names could have been changed of the making of this movie, so that's understandable too. So going on from there, it's just a really bullshit show because this whole court trial was all bullshit because they got the people to testify who are still living to the trials. Like this, yes, those officers right there. Again, they didn't say Damascus did anything wrong. He was roped into it, and just it is what it is. And so the prosecution tried his best, quotation marks, to get some justice for the victims. Again, with an all-white jury, the judge threw out the confessions of the eyewitnesses who were there because this attorney did some slick tactics like, oh, did you see who shot them? Did you do this and that? And it's like, this is bullshit. They were held against their own will. This was torture. This was everything else. And you get so upset. You get really upset about the whole situation, and you feel powerless. And that's what the movie comes off as, like, you feel powerless. And so after the court trial, and once the judge threw out the witness testimony, and the all-white jury said, oh, they found all of them not guilty and acquitted them of all charges, which is bullshit. And so there was no justice or anything else like that. And so the aftermath is just really race-divided tensions there, and it pushes the people away from trusting the police at all or any authority figure. And so it was very disheartening as well. And this is where the movie doesn't end there; it keeps on going. But I kind of like the third act too as well. And again, you see how Larry pretty much tries to build back his life. He doesn't want to become that Motown, anything else. Like, he doesn't want to become a star. He wants to be a person who wants to do good for himself and others, you know. And so we see the aftermath of his story, which I liked as well. And Damascus as well. He has to move to a different location due to death threats and this and that. And again, he wasn't really accepted in pretty much in either the black community or the police community because he was just singled out person. He was just stuck in the middle of the road. And Julie, she has children now. Those three officers, those asshole officers, still kept their badge, but they are not on duty at the time of that after the trial. Pretty much, in other words, they were pretty much kept at the desk or pretty much fired. But again, they really persistent. They really go into details on that. But I can't really blame the movie for that because a lot of things were kept closed doors because the criminal procedure was pretty much broken, and it was botched in one way because there was no real procedure to actually get the evidence, get the testimonies, and everything else involved. They tried, but it was like, this is bullshit no matter what. There's no way they're going to convince 3 police officers of murder. It was impossible. It's like the Rodney King incident. And so the movie also actually at the end of the movie, it says the movie some parts could have been dramatic, some parts were a little more dramatic than others because it was all based on eyewitnesses' accounts, court documents, and things of that nature. But the movie itself was outright and tells you, like, yes, some moments could have been dramatized, could have been more dramatic and more movie-like to it, but the rest of it was all up and up. So, say, for example, when the military attacked a windowsill of a supposed sniper, that's more dramatized to it. Or how, again, this is before they got to the hotel, so I would say the ending and the beginning and the third act were pretty much more dramatic in some more ways, but the motel itself was the main focus. And you just walk away that you just watched an amazing movie that you will only see once. John Boyega, I keep on messing up his name. Homie kills it every single scene. I love his acting. I love how he betrays Damascus. I love the body language he does. He's just so damn good. The scenery, the music, the score, the pacing, everything was just damn near perfect. I just love it. And so, knowing fact, I said you should only see it once. You should really see this if you're a history buff like myself, or you want to see a really good damn horror movie, which this was, in a sense of way, because it breaks down like this: a war movie, a horror movie, and a Law and Order type of movie. All done very well. And the pacing is great. The cinematography was great. They captured Motown. They captured the police brutality. They captured the riots. They captured everything else perfectly well. And again, this is a movie I'm only going to see once in my lifetime, but it's a movie that should be seen by a lot of people. It's one of those. It is a masterpiece that you should see and pretty much make sure history doesn't repeat itself. Sadly enough, history is going to repeat itself. Because, no, in fact, Phil Cruz is a racist motherfucker who is evil, and that attorney was a bigot, and so much more, and everything else like that. There's pawns in the whole big scheme of things. And again, let me give you my score, and I can just go on this whole small rant. So it's obvious to say, no, in fact, you should see this once. You should see this because the acting's great. John Boyega kills it. Will Poulter, he does it too damn well. I mean, he does it way too well. And the cinematography was great. The 3 acts were great. Capturing Motown. It's just so much more. It's a must watch. I'm very, very high as hell. High as the atmosphere of the universe, whatever. It's a must watch. A must watch for people who are just want to see a good movie, a historical movie, and things like that. And yeah, and so breaking down a little bit what I'm about to say a little bit, again, this was a small soapbox rant, is that the police brutality is a small cog within the whole grand scheme of things. In other words, how can I say it like this without being too dramatic, is that the police brutality is another part of the whole prison industry, in a sense of a way, where you have police filling up their quotas like, oh, we gotta arrest people. Well, we gotta arrest a lot of black people or arrest a lot of minorities and this and that, and filling a quota, which equals the prison, which gives off them. Again, this is gonna be hard for me to explain or express, but it's just a small cog of thing. You have the prison industry that it gets paid off for pretty much putting people in jail, mostly people of color in most times, but like for profit prisons. not state prisons, but for-profit prisons. So they're one of those private companies, which equals, which is connected to, I don't want to say connected to, but it's pretty much like brothers and sisters to the military industry and the gas and oil industry. They're all connected in the most evil slimeball way. But again, I don't feel like going that long. Again, that was my small rant. I don't feel like getting into, because those crooked cops are only small cogs in the grand scheme of things. But again, this movie is a it's the best movie of 2017, next to War of the Planet of the Apes. That's with an amazing movie. So yeah, it's a must watch, just like War of the Planet of the Apes. And that's all I have to really say. Yeah, I can really say this too. I'm not gonna put any monitoration on my videos, because number one, I didn't really care for this whole YouTube game. I used to when I was a little bit younger, but now I don't give a fuck. And this whole YouTube ad apocalypse is damaging to a lot of YouTube channels, so I'm not gonna support or fund within what's going on with YouTube bullshit. I'm still gonna post up videos because I like to, but I'm not gonna worry about that bullshit, because I'm not gonna worry about it. But anyways, yes, Detroit 2017 is a great movie, one of the best damn movies of 2017. And I'm leaving here, and I almost forgot to say this. Yes, you're leaving a zone, because I'm Isaiah. You're leaving a zone. We'll keep it locked a little very warm for me, because I'll be back with more interesting videos like this. Not really, but who's watching these videos, right? Anyways, to keep it locked warm, keep locked and very warm for me, because I'll be back with more interesting things. Maybe.